Well, I have just returned from the big island of Hawaii, which is a wonderful place to go to. I didn't have much time there to be a tourist, even though it is a beautiful island. I went there to teach a class at the Youth with a Mission base, which has about 1,000 young people coming through it at the University of the Nations there in Kona, Hawaii. I was invited to go there to teach at the maternity school there on campus and to help the many people going through this class to prepare to serve in pregnancy help clinics and maternity homes all over the world. It was a very exciting situation. In fact, I wonder if it's the only school of its kind. We've been trying to encourage certain Christian universities to start thinking about pregnancy crisis intervention as its own career path. But we haven't really been successful yet in our making that case. But Youth with a Mission has figured that out, and they have created a school that's training women particularly to serve in the mission field in the context of pregnancy help centers and maternity homes all over the world. It was very exciting. I taught them the 4 questions Monday through Thursday of last week. These women some of them are married and some of them had children, but the vast majority of them were young women in their 20s, some in their 30s. One woman who's there was 45, still single. And this is what I want to address today, because most of these women are not single by choice. They really want to be married. And the history of world missions shows that women do much, much better in terms of their emotional health and their stability and their long-term effectiveness if they can serve with a partner, unless they are among those women who are uniquely called to live and stay single. But most women are not. They want to be married. And these women, many of them I meet, are single not by choice, but because of a lack of manhood in our culture today. That's the real problem I see. It's a cruel reality that the failure of us to raise young men with a sense of strong masculinity, servant leaders in relationship to women, has left women in a very cruel position of waiting and waiting and waiting to be wooed. And men are called to be the wooers, but today they lack the initiative that was very common when I grew up. Christian, non-Christian, most young men knew that it was their job, it was their responsibility to see what they wanted and to go after it, to be the risk takers in terms of relationships. And today, it's just heartbreaking to see all these beautiful, godly women pursuing the Lord as best they can, wanting to serve Him, but wanting and longing to be both wife and mother as well. And yet men today don't seem to be driven the same way that my generation and certainly my father's generation, that World War II generation, they knew what it was to be manly. And a lot of that is gone today, and women suffer as a result of it. I think besides the failure to teach young men to be manly, to be initiative, to be the initiators, to be the risk takers, to lead the relationship in a godly way. The second problem, I suspect, is the access of pornography that is so widespread now in our culture. You know, when I was growing up, it took a lot of you had to overcome a lot of fear if you wanted to access pornography. You had to go into a store, you had to pick up a magazine, you had to pay the woman behind the counter. You know, there was a lot of built-in protections for young men like me just by our timidity. We weren't going to do that. But today, as you know, pornography hunts you down on your phone, on your iPad, on your computer. And that God-given gift of a sexual drive in young men that is to help push them toward being initiators in relationships and to do whatever they need to prepare to be a good husband and a good provider, which is attractive to a young woman. All that is diverted through pornography today. So my challenge to all of us who might be watching this is that every single Christian young man in our life needs to be challenged to grow into godly manhood. By which I mean to get a vision for being the leader in the relationship, to be the initiator of that relationship, to take the chance. Don't be afraid that women are going to say no if you ask them out. If they say no, well, that's tough. Go ask somebody else. It falls to us to be the initiators, not to calculate and remove all the risks before we take a chance. We need to encourage young men to embrace godly manhood and to go out and find a good wife and take the lead in finding that person to be a life partner with. Am I talking about men and women? I'm really talking about the gospel and missions, because all these women are waiting to be wooed, as Shakespeare said. And godly men need to get to the wooing right merrily. So let's encourage manhood at every place that we can, because I see godly women everywhere waiting to be a life partner in the service of the kingdom, including the work that we do around the world. Thank you.